Join. Hey, Janice, nice to see you. Happy New Year. Nice. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Lots to chat about today. Thought maybe, last time we tried to do the breakouts, but the breakouts didn't work. So we did an intro to everybody who was on the call, which I thought was actually a really, really nice thing. And so I thought one of the things we would do today is whoever wasn't on the call last week, it'd be great to kind of have them give like a little 1 minute, who you are and what you're looking forward to in 2021. But let's keep it to a minute. And Brandon is going to do this really great thing that happens at TED. TED has this thing that's called open mic, and it's awesome. But essentially at 1 minute, the mic's cut off. So keeps everybody on time in the middle, and it makes it kind of fun. So somebody's always at TED, especially going into some really profound, like the universe is made up of, and click, right? Like these profound knowledge drops. So anyway, who wasn't on the call last time?
I wasn't on the call. Actually,
Yeah,
I'm the first time
call.
here.
Yeah, great. Go for it, Shah.
So guys, I'm from Europe actually. So it's 10 p.m. right now. I normally live in London, but currently in south of France because London is pretty dead and nothing is happening there. So quick background, I used to work in finance for a while, mainly investment banking, and then worked for a company for 3 years called the Hut Group, which IPO'd 3 months ago. One of the largest tech IPOs, where I was heading up their Asia team. Left last year in January to start a kind of a human cloud for engineering talent. And we launched in August, and so far, it's going quite well. Revenue is ramping up. And now we are kind of expanding, and the platform is called CodeMug. Yeah, that's kind of keep it short to 1 minute.
Go ahead and drop your information into the chat.
Yeah, that's great. Thanks, Shah. Appreciate it. Mike Morris, you raised your hand.
Yep. So with Topcoder, I think Topcoder was represented, so I won't go through that. But great to be here. Thanks. Thank you, John. Thank you, the OA team. And I would say, just reflecting on your question, I want to solve for some of the impediments for enterprises to adopt open talent models, right? So I think that would be the goal for me for 2021. Like there's some big giant ones out there, those elephants in the room. I'd love to be able to get, what are the reasons why companies aren't adopting these models, and start tackling them in a thoughtful way. So that would be on my list for 2021. Because I think this, to me, it's the year of scale. So I'm using that a lot with my own team. Like, hey, this is the year of scale.
That's awesome. I think a lot of us on the call would agree, Mike. The thing that gets me up every morning trying to figure that out. So look forward to doing it with everybody. Jeff Bojar, I know it's been a while since you've been on the call. Good to see you. Yeah. We had a great conversation. Jeff and I go back a while from in the Boulder scene, and he always brings an incredible perspective to the place. So take it away.
Yeah, in one perspective, I often bring relative to John and some other visionaries that he hangs out is like, I'm microscopic. And so John, in terms of like 2021, for me, and for me and my family and for me and my wife, like we want to innovate. Like this is a season of innovation for us personally. And so that's sort of like the user side of open talent. What does that mean for us as a user? What do we need to test, and how do we explore, and how do we lean in this direction? Because that really helps me understand that macro level view too, but just to have the vision of like, how does this concept manifest in a very pragmatic way for Jeff Bojar and for Angela and for our family? Like, I think that tells us a lot about the opportunity here. And so, that's, we have a commitment to innovate in 2021 around just us. And so we're going to think small, and hopefully we can then join your big thinking. John, thanks for having me.
Yeah. No, Jeff. I mean, it's like, I love that idea of like, think small instead of big, right? Like that's kind of a good good kind of tactical point of view. Just to let everybody know, so Jeff has been behind the scenes for a while. He's been a real inspiration, and he works with a buddy of mine, Scott Beck, who actually was the funder of Victors and Spoils. And we've spent the last 10 years thinking about and talking about platforms and open talent. And Jeff is a lawyer by training and has really been an architect of a lot of the great stuff that Scott's doing at a company called Glue. But you know, if you ever want to talk about the legal side of formation of really innovative business models, Jeff's the guy. So
Cool.
thanks for being here, Jeff. Really appreciate it. Hey, Andy, I know you
Hey.
just shot me a note and said you're
Yeah.
new. Oh no, you're not new, but you're,
I'm not new.
Yeah, exactly. Just what you always have the aquarium. I love the aquarium.
Yes, yes. Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't make the inaugural first of year. I had a meeting conflict, but I didn't want to miss this one. So hi, everyone. I do see some people I haven't met. So I have a little bit of a selfish reason to also be here. I am a co-founder in a startup that we've made a conscious decision that we will be looking to do open innovation and open talent from the very beginning. We're right now three of us, and we're born out of COVID. So we started last year, and the three of us are actually in 3 different cities ourselves, and we've never physically even met. So the founders themselves have the baseline. If we can do it at a founder level, we should be able to do it at a individual contractor employee level. And to be honest, I'm super scared about it. I'm trying to figure my way, and hopefully being a part of this organization will help both learn and also contribute some of the pain points we go through as we go through this journey.
That's great. Thanks, man. Hey, Eric Stetler, I know you shot me a note. I know you weren't here last week either, but always love our conversations and
Yeah, thank you.
yourself.
Yeah, it's great to see you all again. I'm Eric. I'm the chief economist of TopTal, which is a global platform for talent in creating technology-driven products. So engineers, data scientists, designers. I'm also the co-founder of a venture capital fund predicated on the global talent thesis. So basically globally distributed teams and global markets. And my interests are helping to quantify the impact that talent can have and that open work can have in terms of creating enterprise value, in terms of revenue, in terms of everything that matters to the executives that are deploying it, and working with you to achieve the common paradigm and language that allows for mass adoption. Also, my previous focus as an economist was also crisis events, so also how a more globally integrated talent economy can make us more robust whenever the next shock to the system arrives. And I have 5 seconds left, but I'll give that back. Thank you.
And one of the things I love about Eric is he's hanging out in Medellin, Colombia, which is such a cool
Yeah.
place. So welcome. As I look around, I mean, raise your hands or speak up, but I see Jocelyn Bickford. Hey, Jocelyn, it's been a long time since you and I've talked. How's it going?
I know, right? We
Yeah.
overlapped way back in the day.
Way back. The
I'm
OG.
still at CPB where John and I overlapped, but this year I'm really looking to explore different ways of kind of providing services, and I'm doing some volunteer work with an economic development organization based in Guyana. So I've been kind of hiding in the background a little bit because I've been too busy to commit as much to being part of these, but I'd like to do that more this year. Learning a lot out of the things that you guys have been posting, and I really appreciate all of the insights. But I'm really interested in the open talent model for putting together teams based on what a project needs, and all of the different resources that some of you guys are offering, and other ways of looking at it.
Oh, I'm so psyched you're here. It's really great to see you again. Hey, Alistair, how's it in Jayburg?
Hey, John. Very good. Nice to be joining you guys from Johannesburg. A bit later than normal here. It's about 11 p.m., but stoked to be back and see all these smiling faces. For me, this year is all about the year of exponential growth. So I always promised myself last year we'd try and build a business and launch every 12 to 16 weeks. And we've
So
got 2 out the
incredible.
starting blocks. Yeah, it's tough. But so far this year, we've got 2 out the starting blocks. Pretty exciting around the area of cognitive technologies. So we're using that in townships around Africa to see what we can do around democratizing access to water and electricity using nanotechnology, which is not an area of specialization, but it's a matter of the heart. So I'm going to give it a whirl and see what happens there. and super excited to work with these guys. I think around building out and seeing what we can take to the world about open talent. So I think that's me in a nutshell.
That's great, man. Well, big shout out to Alistair and Mafi and Eric and San, because those guys have been on the business model work stream, has really been formative in helping me think through not only the business model for CTW, but also for Open Assembly and how it all goes together into an ecosystem to kind of accelerate, learning and adoption for open talent. So as I look around, Janice, you weren't on the call last time, were you?
No, I wasn't.
So Janice and I go back to junior high together.
Or
Isn't that great?
before.
Even before. Yeah, for sure. Lifeguards together.
That's absolutely right. Taught me how to swim the 1 mile in 20 minutes, as I recall.
Exactly.
I'm a design principal of a design firm that specializes in future of workplace issues. We're a virtual firm. We've been that way for 20 years. We're a B Corp, so we're committed to a new way of helping the greater good. We roll out radical delivery for scaling companies 3-dimensionally to connect business goals to workspace. We work with bold leaders. We're all about disruptive technology, employee engagement, resolving issues, helping to channel innovation, and we transform spaces for market position.
That's awesome, Janice. And I've got to add, one of the things that really inspires me about Janice is that I think it'd been years since we connected, right? And soon after my wife, Bridget, passed away, Janice called and said, I'm coming to Boulder, we're having dinner. And it was one of the greatest things to have somebody who I hadn't seen in 25 years to reach out like that. So, you're one of my faves. Thanks.
Love you, man.
Love you too. Who else wasn't on the call last time? Hey, Stefan.
So,
Yeah.
Hi, John. Hi, John. It's Steve here. I'm from the UK. I've met some of you guys on breakouts on these calls. I've been a privileged listener, I think, since October. It's been great to get involved and look at different podcasts and things. But it's been a lockdown tonic for me. I think, and now a passion, the whole open talent gig economy. I know Barry Matthews very well. I'm doing some work with Barry. I currently work in a large technology services company based out of Teaneck, New Jersey. No in there. I'm trying to be spreading the word. Going back to Michael's comment about what does it mean to a large systems integrator, and some surprising results. I've not very much is happening. So I'm on the, I guess, evangelizing, spreading the word and trying to work out what it means and how we can use all the great things that it comes with. So exciting times ahead. And it's been great being part of this community, John, and thank you all.
Yeah, thanks for being here. Hey, I see Tim Salou's on the call. Man, Mr. Future of Work. I love it. How you doing, man? Are you there?
I was on mute. Hey, John. So grateful to be on the call with you all.
Yeah, it's great to have you here, man. What's going on?
Oh man, everything is well, man. Just grateful to see another year. It's this year has gone off to a pretty awesome start in America, right?
Yeah, some big quantum shifts, right? Good stuff for sure. Awesome. Well, welcome. What are you thinking about for 2021?
Oh man, it's gonna be an interesting year. A lot is in the works, even on our end as a business. But I think I'm seeing a lot of shifts just happening in the market as well, and interested in hearing what y'all's perspectives on them are and just what you guys have been seeing in the market. Great.
Well, I'm glad you're here. Ashir, you weren't here a couple of weeks ago, but love to, I know you're doing some super cool work over at EY, and love to hear what you're thinking about in 2021.
Yeah. So I'm Ashir Shroff for the folks that haven't already met. I think I'm talking to a lot of you folks. But I run a platform called Gig Now, a contractor hiring, future of work, sort of gig play that EY is doing. We're hiring 6,000 or 7,000 contractors on an annual basis through this platform. But really what I see is the acceleration of this. We anticipate double the volume as we return from this recovery of COVID. More of our own internal needs and clients are asking for how can we find talent? How can we get them on board as quick as possible? And how can we get the smartest people there to really answer the right questions? And so to me, 21 looks like a gangbuster year for any one of the sort of talent platforms out there that are really looking to disrupt work.
Yeah, one of the things I love about what you're doing, Share, is that you know you're not just talking to clients about what their needs are and how they might implement itself, but you're walking the walk. And I think that's so important for all of us, right? It's like how we can talk about platforms, but unless we're a platform ourselves, you don't really know what the feel is, right?
Living it every single day.
Exactly.
Glad to see everyone though.
Yeah, great that you're here. Who else isn't gone yet? Anybody else want to jump in? David, is that?
Sure. I'll jump in. I'm David Cameron. John and I met, I don't know, 10 years ago now, I guess.
Yeah.
When you were at Victors and Spoils. So I've been running Light & Co., which is a virtual agency like Object, for about 6 years. And have been in and out of these calls over the last year. And always take away a lot. So appreciate the opportunity to jump in and often listen and share what I can. For us, I like what Mike said in terms of the year of scale. I think we've operated very much as a boutique over the last 6 years, and I think there's just so much opportunity. And we grew quite a bit last year, I think, because we were set up for this, and hope to continue to do so. So anyway, just happy to be here.
Yeah, man. Good to see you, David. It's been a long time, and super psyched to see, you being, way into doing the work at Dentsu and then be able to reinvent yourself. You're a rare bird to be able to do that. So it's awesome. Hey, James Wright, you just popped into view. What's
Hey,
happening?
John.
I know you're new.
Yeah, thanks, John. I work with Mr. Morris over at Top Coder, and Adam Sandlin and Mess and some of the other crew that you may all know. What am I most excited about 21 as we grapple with the future of work? It's just a fascinating time in human history to be alive, frankly, and is if we're reinventing what that future of work looks like at such a precarious point in human history, I find it's quite a profound sort of subject to grapple around. So I'm really excited to see enterprise to adopt these, the agility around resourcing that Open Talent provides, but also I'm really excited to see what this does for the talent themselves, and hopefully get away from a sort of a less tactical, more strategic in the enterprise, but also be with the talent to see them grow and meet their career aspirations. So that's what I'm really excited about 2021.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Anybody else that I missed? Please speak up. Jump
Hey, John.
in. Hey.
Matt Neal.
Hey, Matt. How are you?
I'm good. Just excited to be on the calls. I've been following along a greater part of, I don't know, even time has no meaning these days. I think it was before the pandemic started. But
Wow.
Happy New Year. Good to be with you guys in this setting. And, I'm really looking forward to, I'm in traditional organizations. And as I think about what I want to do next, I think this type of forum really is a place to explore that freedom and possibility like never before in terms of what you want to do to build and scale your idea, basically. So it's a freedom that I think is extremely valuable. So I'm glad you guys are here and glad to be a part of it.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for being here, Matt. Hey, Chuck, what's happening? Chuck Hamilton.
Hi. Chuck Hamilton, been a part of this group for a long time as well. And what I'm looking forward to, if I can quickly lay that out, is I just feel like maybe we've learned a little bit about our vulnerability, and we learned about what we really don't need and what we really do need, particularly things like frontline and other areas. But I think also from a work point of view, we realized just what's most important in the work setting and the work-home balance and a number of things along that line. So I'm really anxious to contribute to growth along that area that talks about where we go from here, what we leave behind, and what we take with us.
Yeah, thanks, Chuck. You've been really helpful in the formation of CTW and really inspirational. So really, really appreciate all that stuff. David, what's happening? Thanks for pinging me there.
Hey, No sweat. Can you hear me okay? I'm using these.
Yeah,
fancy
yeah. No, it's
headphones.
all good. It's all good.
Well, so the universe is made up of, I'm working on two main things. My usual insight to impact, where we take people with IP or insights, typically people who've written books or consultants or professors, and try and distill what they do down into a product that is scalable and repeatable and hopefully profitable.
That's awesome.
Which is huge fun, and we're pretty good at it. But the thing that in that world, the focusing Open Talent on the innovation part of corporate life feels like a really useful use case for bringing in new talent that doesn't necessarily, or maybe even better off, not being integrated into the overall operation, since your innovation group needs different staffing, different budgeting, different metrics, et cetera. And the second thing is I'm working on Open Talent for underserved populations, a group called 70 Million Jobs, which is all about upskilling, college and high school dropouts, people who've been to prison, folks that are really non-traditional for this kind of work, and trying to get them to a place where they can be employed by folks like Mike Morris and Topcoder.
That's awesome. Thanks, David. Lots to add to the group. Really appreciate it. And Lucas, you pinged me. What's happening?
Hi, I'm new.
Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'll be quick. I'm full-time at HBAP. In 2021, I'm hoping to come out of alpha on a caregiver platform I'm building. And there's some parallel stuff, especially with 70 million jobs, and anti-recidivism has been really important. I've taught yoga in prisons, and with the destructuring of for-profit prisons, which is about to be announced in the next week or so, things like that, 70 million jobs and all that might really come back into this. So I'm looking forward to seeing what I can do in this year with respect to that while still building my own company. And thanks for having me here.
Yeah, thanks for being here. That's really inspiring. Awesome stuff. All right. I don't know if anybody else hasn't had a chance to chime in, but if not, maybe Brandon, we should take everybody out to the traditional breakouts. The breakouts work this week, so let's pop out and have a more intimate conversation with one or two people for a couple minutes. How about that?
Yep, we're ready to go. We'll see you all in a few minutes.
All right, look forward to it.
I can control who gets in what room. I can put Clinton with Mike and
exactly
Mass and
you guys
we talk enough.
Exactly.
Actually, Brandon, can you puppet master how people get put together in the back end?
I can. Yep.
Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. I didn't know that power existed.
He's got.
I'll send you my Venmo handle.
Yeah. Exactly. Perfect. Well, awesome. Well, hey, I hope everybody enjoyed that. That's definitely one of my favorite things. So thanks for everybody to being patient and jumping in. And I know, so as somebody said, I heard, like those are never really long enough. So really, it's really awesome. Hey, so a few things I just want to catch everybody up on. Well, actually, are Greta, or Chris, or Jen on the call today? I'd love to hear kind of what's going on in the academic world.
The only academic I've seen is Jerry Wind.
Jerry Wind. I just did a great podcast with Jerry yesterday. Jerry, thanks again for doing that. And he's, like we talked about last time, he's got a great new book, Transformation in Times of Crisis. So make sure you look at it and pick it up. And definitely really great stuff. Iconic information. Really appreciate it. I just saw a couple people just ordered the book. So there you go.
That sounds good.
Yeah. Thanks for, yeah, man. Thanks for taking the time yesterday. And again, also anybody interested in doing a podcast from the group, love to do that. I've done I don't know, we're up to like 20 now or so. I'm just pushing them out. So, hey, Brandon, why don't you hit the link in the chat for all the podcasts? I just did, Chris Stanton went up this morning. So really great stuff from Chris. Eric was one of the recent guys that we had a great conversation. I don't know, Eric's is up too, isn't it, Brandon?
Yep.
Okay, cool. So lots of good stuff there. Hey, listen, I just wanted to catch everybody up on what's happening here, and then we need your input on a couple of decisions. So as you guys know, Jen and Kareem and I are working on a book, and we're trying to just figure out how do we capture the essence of this and really help create a playbook to solve the adoption problem, right? Or at least the start of a playbook, a very broad playbook. And what I envision the book is capturing all the stories and the history of the journey that we've had the last couple decades. I think there's so many great stories that have been floating around. One of the things I notice in my own work that I criticize myself is I love telling the stories, but sometimes the stories don't really connect to the people that I'm talking to, right? There are all these fantastical stories, especially about all the stuff that's been great, at NASA and Top Coder and TopTal and all the transformational stuff. But the idea really for me is that what we want to do is create a playbook, right? And from that playbook, we'll make it much more kind of scalable by creating a book, but then taking that playbook and using that playbook to actually create some training information. And through that training information, what we'll do is certify coaches and consultants that can help speak the same language as we do, workshops and things like that. That's what we've traditionally done at OA, consulting and workshops. Instead of us doing it in the future, getting everybody aligned through a playbook, and then be able to create a network of really great consulting and coaches that can go out to incumbent organizations and help with the adoption side of things. So that's on the OA side. On the CTW side, really what I want to do is build this playbook and then create a library of educational materials to create that common language. And then the idea is from the library, much like the US Green Builders Association is build certifications. So the ability to tag things inside the library, the materials that are out, according to the categories in the book, and then be able to have certification. So somebody could get, let's just say, an open talent manager certification out in the workforce. So the idea would be to really focus the organization, because as we talked about, the two pillars of CTW really are the accreditation of platforms, which we're working on and coming up with the criteria, and then the education side of things. How do we make sure that we have the educational materials in the library, and then offer the ability for people to be certified. Along with that, let's see, I think Catherine and Stephanie worked on some really cool stuff on the membership side today. And Stephanie, thanks for leaning in and leading that work stream. One of the things we're trying to do as we build this out is look at learning management systems. And Catherine and Stephanie, I don't know, you guys had a conversation today. We're kind of exploring and down to the last couple, but just maybe throw out to the group of where your thinking is and where it's going. And if there's any input from anybody, it would be really great.
Sounds good. Yeah, so our top priority right now for the CTW is to trial and then select a platform. So Stephanie and I have been researching quite a few of them, and it's kind of like the open talent landscape. There's like 800 of these platforms, but we figured out that the one that we really need is like an all-in-one solution. So it'll allow us to host our whole website, all the features, do all the e-commerce, make all the classes, and market it all from one platform as we kind of like get our feet under us for this year. So Stephanie is actually in Aspen this week, this month. She's been traveling the globe with COVID.
Yeah, Stephanie.
She's on, and she's going to give you an update on how we're going to approach it.
Yeah, hey guys. I'll introduce myself to the group because I was not on the previous call, and I knew I was going to give an update. So at the same time, I'll do a quick intro.
Thanks.
I came into the group through Steve King, who's on this call today, about 6 months ago. I work at an enterprise software SaaS cloud company, and ventured into angel investing. And the first investment I did was in this open platform, talent platform. And in helping them do some market research studies, I became incredibly passionate by this space. And so I ended up reaching out to Steve King because I loved the work he did, and he introduced me to the group. So that's, and yes, I'm in Aspen, and since the pandemic, I'm kind of trying to, I guess, lead by example in the sense that I've been living in different places every month. So I've been in Cape Cod, upstate New York, Aspen. I'm going to the Florida Keys because I want to get my diver's license next month. I was in California and San Diego not too long ago, and who knows where I'll be next. So that's been really fun. But in terms of getting to the platform and technology to really get us going in terms of offering content and memberships to the community, I'd love to share my screen with you guys.
That'd be awesome.
And been working, yeah, we've been working with Catherine on this. So I did want to give a quick update to folks here. There's the group of sort of the smaller working group that that John invited me to participate in. We've developed a membership, a sort of membership model, right? Where different companies, and this I think is not completely 100% nailed down, opinions and thoughts are welcome, but where there's enterprise level memberships, there's individuals, students, and of course wanting to be open and friendly to folks that are in the field like practitioners. And then folks who may want to get platforms that may want to be accredited by the group, right? So building standards around that. And San, Mark, and a few folks have been strategic in driving or in building the revenue model here. Then, you know, if in terms of the sitemap, so Mary Molina was awesome at building this sort of mural for us, where we would, oops, I didn't know what I did there. Where we have the different areas of our site, right, for CTW. So there's an education section with all of the different courses like learning paths. Some are free, some are not. There's the section for platform accreditation for all the platforms that would want to get us accredited and indexed on here, practitioner certifications, and then there is a membership section for those individuals, corporates, et cetera, right? So we need a site that will have all of that. And so I'm going to show you one example of the few software technologies we're evaluating. And if there's anyone who wants to volunteer additional ones, feel free. With Catherine, we're going through an exercise of evaluating these. But these guys here, Padia, seem pretty great and comprehensive in terms of membership management. And I'm going to build a prototype that we're going to present to a smaller group next week on Tuesday. But essentially, there's a number of awesome pre-built functionality that is great, that can get us going pretty quickly. And so we can manage subscription revenue, invoicing, multiple subscription prices and levels on this platform. It has lead generation tools. I'm not exactly sure what this means. It looks like there's an email list that you can curate and engage with. You can publish content, and that will, you know, those posts will go out to the community and develop, you know, more deeper relationships, but also send some surveys out and get feedback from folks. You can offer links to the podcasts and send information about events and that kind of thing. So we're going through right now. Catherine has been great at helping set up an evaluation form. We're going to pick a couple of top 2-3 winners that we feel have the most functionality. And we're going to set up a free trial. We're going to go in and actually, you know, build a that prototype I was talking about and start evaluating all the different things according to the sitemap we've built, right? So we need all these things on the sitemap. We've also, that same sitemap is here on you know, the list version is right here. And so we want to kind of mirror one-to-one the functionality and pick the winner. So I think we can, once the selection process is done, I think the execution is actually pretty straightforward and easy, because it's awesome to see these technologies are really plug and play. You know, we don't need to do a lot of coding and designing and this kind of stuff. I've used a couple myself at my own company. Thinkific is one. LearnWorlds seem to be another one. Teachable. We're kind of rating those, but if you know of any, please feel free to send in the chat. So that's the update.
That's awesome. Thanks so much. I really appreciate that. And Janice, thanks for your note, because the U.S. Green Builders Council is something I've been really interested in. So if there's any insights you could offer Stephanie or Catherine, it'd be really, really awesome. It's always, you know, I've watched the whole LEADS thing happen in a long time, and certainly it's been one of the inspirations for us. So I really appreciate that. Hey, so back to the book just a bit. One of the examples that we're using is NASA, because obviously Steve and everybody has done such an amazing job there, and they've been going for so long. And I talked about that a little bit last week about thinking about an organization from a network perspective. But one of the things that's really inspired me is, Steve, you sent out some information about NASA, just about the ecosystem you guys have created. I don't know if you have that to share. If not, Brandon, I'm sure, or Catherine has it, and we can put it in the link. But it's just all the open tools and open pathways into NASA, which is really, really amazing. Thinking about NASA as I always think of NASA as like this, way up on the mountain top, right? This kind of amazing place that I would never be able to play, but yet Steve and the rest of the NASA team have created all these really cool pathways and doorways into the ecosystem. Any thoughts on that, Steve, or anything to add to alliterate that?
Yeah, I can definitely look for a link. I think Brandon has a copy that you can post it, and feel free to do that. No, it's just where the snowball's going, man. And we're just getting folks approaching us from around the agency and other agencies. And so we're really, we're looking at kind of raising the limit on our contract. It's looking really good. And we're starting to actually form a small snowball on the open talent part to try to get folks to realize that that's even there. So it's almost like starting over on a whole new piece of this. So we're looking for all the hints on that. So yeah, it's crazy right now, and we're looking to how do we expand the capability? How do we link folks together? How do we build the ecosystem so that we can build more and more complex solutions using these platforms? So it's been really great.
Yeah, that's awesome, Steve. It's such an inspiration. I mean, you corrected me on some of the numbers, so these numbers might be not be right. But one of the things that Kareem and Jen and I are trying to think about in the book is you can look at NASA as the full-time employees of NASA. What is that? 17,000 people? Yeah. Is that right, Steve? Or you could say, and that's a traditional organization, or you could say it's a networked organization, and that is the 17,000 people plus is it 40,000 contractors?
43, something like that. It makes a total of 60. Yeah.
Yeah, 60,000 together. So those are all connected through NASA at Work, the kind of internal crowd platform, and then through COSI, you've got another 110 million people that are connected through 40 platforms. So from a mindset perspective, or a vision perspective, you could say, is NASA a, employee-based organization of 17,000 people, or is it a network organization of 110 million, 60,000 people? And it seems like that's the kind of paradigm shift we're talking about here. How do we create organizational strength around being networked and allowing these kind of new voices into the house? And back to Mike Morris's point, this is going to be the big challenge, right? How do we change the mindset of folks inside organizations so they can start saying, yeah, that's cool, I want that. Now I can start experimenting, I can start learning, and all those things. Jerry,
John,
yeah.
Well, I was just going to add, I've even had conversations with HR folks at NASA about that very kind of construct and this idea that contributors to NASA and people that we consider to be on the team is that kind of million plus people that just vary in kind of where they're coming from. And I think that builds on what Balaji's been doing at Deloitte, with where you can't tell the difference between who's a homegrown employee and who's a freelancer and who's a contractor. Like, that's just not part of their equation anymore. And I think as we start to build these ecosystems together in ways that we don't have to worry about security anymore, we don't have to worry about the credentialing, I think then that becomes a really powerful set of people that really restructures how we do stuff. So just a plus one point.
And I think that talking about, I'm sorry, I think talking about this new way of working, but then almost connecting that to see now what can NASA do that typical traditional employers can't do. I think that's where business leaders' eyes light up. Is so why should I do this? Yes, it's great to connect all of these. Again, it's not easy to do, right? It's a tough process to do, but what is the benefits of it? How is it for a company? Is it more? Does it bring competitive advantage? Does it bring cost reduction? Does it bring accelerate growth? Like, why is, I think, the I think talking about the why and the benefits that NASA has seen just changes the story, changes the paradigm for companies.
Yeah, and I think we're starting to build those through those atomic kind of stories that are kind of getting bigger and bigger as we chain them together, right? So I look at what Top Coder's doing with T-Mobile and the Walmart folks, right?
Exactly.
Where they're extending their capabilities by embedding those folks in. So.
Yeah, I love that. Hey, Balaji, one of the things I loved about our conversation with the collective last week, on the smaller group call, is you really got into kind of your thinking and where you're going with Deloitte Pixel in the future. And I just thought it was super interesting in the context of, the pandemic, and as we come out of this, some of the needs for organizations. Do you want to share that with this group, or is that?
Yeah, sure. I mean, at least at the highest level, the vision that Steve and John are talking about needs a lot of infrastructure to facilitate that. When you're talking about such interaction with the millions of people, the technology infrastructure that makes it extremely seamless so that you can focus on the value versus the friction of that interaction is probably the biggest element that is kind of missing in some way, almost like the Salesforce.com style hub that makes it very easy for marketplaces or vendors or technologies or any of the companies that even Stephanie was talking about, that you can start a website. All of these should be able to plug in easily so that you can actually not think about how to use it versus just start using it, right? And I think that's, given that we are completely platform agnostic, we think in some way our role is to build that scaffolding and that infrastructure so that volume can flow through to companies from the best of breed people through the marketplaces. And I think that network infrastructure is what somebody needs to build, and we think we could help with that. And of course, partner with all of you.
Love it. Love it. Yeah, there's so many big problems to solve. And I think, coming out of COVID, the explosion of new knowledge that organizations need is going to be really critical. So love what you guys are doing. That's really great. So back to the book, as I build this out, and Kareem and Jen and I work on it, we'd love from you guys, like if you guys have any case studies or reports or books or, tangential material that you have that's inspirational, like Jerry's book, who's been really informative. And I've got a stack of big things that I'm kind of plowing through to understand some of the frameworks and some of the ways to think about this. And likewise, I've got some materials. I've got an outline and a book proposal that my agent's shopping around right now. If any of you guys want to volunteer to take a look at it, give feedback, anything, we'd love to. I want to make this a really collaborative effort. This has got to be not a book from Kareem, Jen, and I, but a book from this community and empowered by this community and insights that have been kind of tested and argued over and thought about, so that we really can offer something to the world as a starting point for increasing adoption.
John, are you considering emerging companies in this space and talking within the book about maybe interviews with sort of CEOs or other people who have decided, hey, I'm going to take my business in the direction of supporting open talent, and sort of mapping some of the ones you see as leaders right now?
Yeah. So the idea, one of the things that was really inspiring from Mary and from Alistair is this exponential organization book, which I think they've done in a really, it's exceptional job of building out a framework. I mean, they have the framework, and then they address the framework with small, startups and small businesses, medium-sized businesses, large businesses, and then also slice it with roles, right? CEO, CTO, CMO. So that it's a really good way to build a playbook that, is actionable, right? That we can put into training. We can help people really understand on how to create more momentum for small business or a larger business, and then create a network of, consultants and an army of folks out there that are talking the same way and can address those things really specifically. So yeah, any thinking, any thoughts, hit me up on email or in the chat, and we'll make sure you guys get the materials and launch into whatever, time you have to help out would be really, really great. Like I said, this isn't about me or Kareem or Jen. It's more, we want to figure out what's happening in the world and be able to capture that and then turn it around and show the world that there's some really good thinking going on, and the stories that we all talk about. I was on a speech earlier today. I mean, I love the stories that Steve tells and the Balaji tells, and that TopTal and Topcoder. But one of the issues that I have, I guess this is my personality at being a storyteller. I tell the stories, but I don't really connect those stories into here's what you can do, right? There's the great heliophysics story, from NASA. That's awesome. I love that, but I never really drill down to say, this is how it would apply to your organization, Mr. CEO. And so I think that's the connective tissue we as a group really need to figure out, right? Like these fantastical stories, this amazing research from what Jerry's done to the stuff
John,
at Harvard doing. Yeah.
John, quick question. It seems that because of the composition of the community you created here, most of the people are on the supply side of the open talent and open innovation. But the challenge is really understanding the legacy companies and why the difficulties they have. How much are you planning in the book to have really a playbook for legacy companies in terms of what are the implications to their structure, their architecture, the way they're thinking about talent, how they integrate the talent they need if they're going to adopt open innovation and open talent component?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jerry. Yeah, to me, the core of the book is that, right? Like that's where I've been getting advice from Paul at Wellmark and Brian Fleming at T-Mobile, and some of the other folks. I've actually got a call with Ryan Hinkie at SEI coming up, and I appreciate you connecting them into the community. Ryan was really active on last week's call, and I really appreciate that. So certainly, we need to take an ecosystem approach, but addressing that from the organizational side is important. And Balaji and I have this conversation all the time. So it's a really, really good point to mention. So yeah.
And
So
John,
yeah.
if I may add,
yeah,
I think it would be good to include the government as part of
for sure
of one that will use open talent, and also because their services is lagging behind because of COVID and all this, and how could they keep up?
I agree.
Because they are the services of the businesses.
Right. Yeah, we've had a couple people on the call, but the U.S. opportunity. I forget. Steve, you introduced somebody into the community.
Lisa's on. Lisa
Nelson. Yeah, Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
You still on?
Yeah. Are you on?
Let's see.
Is Lisa still on?
She may have had to drop off. She was on. She heads up OPM's USA Jobs platform, which is where all the civil servants get their jobs. So she's very much on. In fact, I'm going to speak at one of their forums next week because they're really interested in the whole model.
That's great.
So, yeah, we're trying to work across the government to start to understand this stuff, to use it and prove it out in parallel. I think you're also getting to some of the actual kind of government adjustments that probably need to be made to various regulations and others to kind of make this fit better. And I think we're all kind of looking for what are those barriers and how do we fix that, right?
Yeah, that's great. No, I think that's really huge.
I mean, John, in my point of view, even if this does not lay out a roadmap for it, if it builds excitement and enthusiasm in the space to figure out that roadmap,
right,
that's fine. I mean, it's not as though when people started using AI, they knew exactly what the roadmap is to scale. Like,
right,
you first generate the buzz and enthusiasm and excitement, and then now you have a much larger group of people that are focused on extracting value. So the fact that I don't want this to be about you have to, that this is already proven value and let's show it to other people so that they can replicate it. No, it hasn't proven value yet. Right? It is still growing and scaling.
Still nascent.
Yeah. So I think it should be more about stories about how to galvanize the community, galvanize companies to say, there's something here. We need all of you to participate in figuring it out.
Yeah, no, I agree. Hence, I think that the power of the book's one thing, but just having this community together is really, really the most powerful thing. So.
Can I jump in? Can you hear me?
Yeah. Go, Sheila.
Hey everyone, great meeting as always. I just wanted to get back to something Steve had said earlier, I believe. Something about like not caring anymore if somebody is a full-time employee or somebody you're working with is a full-time employee or a contractor, or getting to the point where that type of thing can be transparent, or unimportant, and just everybody focus on the work. I forget the exact context. And I think Mike Morris was talking about barriers, and Jerry Wind as well. I was on the phone yesterday with an enterprise buyer, and all they could talk about was categorizing whether somebody was a full-time employee, whether somebody was a contractor, the distinction of staff augmentation versus a consultant. And by the way, everybody's definitions are slightly different, but this organization was so focused on that not only that, they feel like they need to put all of their energy into categorizing things like that, and then propagating those very strict rules out through the rest of the organization. And that's diametrically opposed to what we're trying to accomplish here. It's really an issue.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, I think everybody, who's jumping into this is on a different place in the spectrum of adoption, right? So I'm sure there's some laggards that are still, categorization is really, really important. Hey, I know we're running up on time, and I really appreciate the conversation. Thanks for taking the time. Just one thing I want to add is San just shot me a note. I know that you guys are working on the business model canvas, which I'm really excited to dive into, and something that you guys have already worked on a bit. Anything you want to talk to the group about as we build that out? I'm looking forward to seeing that next week.
Far be it for me to stand in the way of people and their 5 o'clock cocktails, but no, just very quickly, as usual, I'm speaking for a team of brilliant people. Yeah, we're just, I think that benevolent cycle that was in the slide that Stephanie shared, earlier, between the two organizations. We're looking at evolving a canvas that kind of builds that cycle, but also has sort of a tokenized component that incentivizes, all of us, frankly, to help build, but then also incentivizes the community as it builds to keep using the community. So sort of a self-feeding, if we can pull it off, a sort of self-feeding business model.
I love that, man. I love the tokenization and using, blockchain and all those things. So I'm really psyched to see that. And then just, be able to execute your guys' vision to make it happen. So really, really cool to see. Hey, I know, Mafi, you had a question in the text. Can we save the chat? I think that Brandon let's just make sure we save it. I think we always do, right? Yeah.
Yeah, we do. Yep.
Yeah, cool. Good. Hey, amazing group, amazing conversation. Really, really excited. Thanks again for everybody to be here. I think we'll cut out the intros next time. Just the first couple times I wanted to just get everybody to, really focus on 2021 goals. 2020 is kind of me stricken from my lexicon going forward. The year that I think we all want to kind of forget. But as we go forward, let's just try to keep that momentum. If somebody has something to add, please jump in and add it in the chat. And look forward to, I guess this is going to happen in a couple of weeks, right? First Thursday of February. Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, thanks, you guys. Love you guys, and thanks for being a part of this journey. Really looking forward to some momentum and creating some real things to get out there and change the world this year. All the best.
Take care, everyone. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Meeting,
Bye-bye.
thank you.